What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Not ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Not ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
Hello. Welcome everybody in to Tell the Truth. Episode 93. We are here. The Chiefs finally can say that they have a victory in the 2025-2026 season. How's everybody feeling? DG, CJ, how y'all feeling, man?
Eat a dub.
Tyquan down there somewhere.
Eat a dub.
He is
Tyquan
down there somewhere.
Throw it to Tyquan.
Shout out to Tyquan Thornton, man. And obviously, you may see it on YouTube. But yes, this is the thumbnail today. Because shout out to Tyquan Thornton, man. Stick that finger up.
We keep winning. I'm doing that all season.
He stuck that finger up. It was so goofy looking because he had him draped all over it, Brian. All you just see is
the standstill picture is hilarious because both sides defenders just laying on top of him. He's like, I got it. Don't worry. I got it.
I got about to play. You drop the easy one.
Exactly.
And then you catch the more difficult one.
It's an MBS classic, bro. Easy catches? Nah, I don't want those. The hard catches, I like that one.
Go get
I was like, what?
You caught the first one, you scored.
Classic. And never. That's like every receiver. Every receiver who has trouble catching the ball, that's literally like their go-to. Drop the easy passes and make the difficult ones look easy. So it's classic. That's why it's funny.
He been reeling them in. I can't even get in front of him.
Hey, he gonna get hella reps. He getting all these reps in now till them boys get back. So I'm glad he getting his work in. So we gonna need him.
He helped my fantasy team too. So
definitely helped me. Ain't he cash my leg? Appreciate you. Longest reception, cash.
Longest reception, absolutely cash. Thank goodness that longest reception cash. Let me see. Can we get
Did I have that one? Last week, I think I had that one. Oh my god.
Finger up, baby.
Put that shit on a shirt, boy. Tyquan down there somewhere.
Tyquan down there somewhere.
Throw it to Quan.
Mm-hmm.
And look, they're relying upon Tyquan Thornton to be able to do those things on a consistent basis because they don't have a choice. They truly don't have a choice.
by any means, brother. By any means,
it's got to happen one way or the other. So obviously the Chiefs have a victory under the belt, which is nice to see, to say the least. And we can say it is Victory Tuesday, which is nice. I got a simple question for y'all. I asked you guys after obviously last week and the Eagles' close loss. Did you feel better than you did coming off of the Chargers game? You guys agreed. Do you guys feel better? They're better vibes based on the Giants' victory on Sunday night for the Chiefs.
Defensively, I still feel good because obviously they went out there and dominated, but offensively, we're making strides. We're doing little things week by week. It's not going to be a finished product by any means, but defensively, I think they're doing out there. They're shutting teams out, making them play left-handed, taking away their strengths, making them play to their weaknesses. I can't really complain about the defense too much. Obviously, we're always going to harp on the pass rush. We want to see more sacks on the board. But anytime we get turnovers, we said that all summer, fellas. We need to do that, and we did that on Sunday. So I can't really harp on the defense too much. Offensively, it's not a finished product by any means. There's a lot of critiques I want to say, but it's the same thing we've been saying the last 3 weeks, so it's nothing new. It's just going to be a product we have to deal with until we get our guys back. Hopefully we get number one on the field this week, and it looks a little differently. But we're taking steps in the right direction.
Yeah, I think for me, if you would have asked me that in the first half, I would have told you no. That first half, ugly.
Thank God for adjustments.
Yeah, I was definitely screaming and yelling at the TV, just the way we were executing, the penalties were bad, like really bad. But I think it was just a tale of two halves. A different team came out in the second half. I think they kind of finally woke up and realized like we're actually better than the Giants. And if we go out here and we execute and do what we need to do, we'll come out of this game with a dub. So I feel better going into this week about them, especially after that second half, because just seeing them being able to kind of turn it around and get their act together and actually start playing the way that we know that they can play. I thought that second half drive, the first drive, that's probably the best offensive drive they've had all season so far up until this point. So I was extremely pleased to see them be able to methodically take their time down the field, be patient, take what's given to you, and then get in the red zone and actually do something with it once you got into the red zone. I thought it was great play design as well too. Great awareness by Mahomes as well, getting down there, especially on 3rd and 3, being able to get to I think your third read almost on that to Tyquan on the backside slant or whatever. And then I thought defensively, I think defensively they played well pretty much the entire game. Pass rush finally came to life. Being able to get 2 turnovers. Christian Wallace, the interception by him was phenomenal to see. I think we need a lot more of that. I think Jalen Watson again put together another good week this week, and they pretty much kept Malik Neighbors in jail the whole night. Well, I think Giants kind of had something to do with that as well too. But yeah, man. As I said, Russell Wilson was going to give them a couple chances, and they took advantage of those opportunities and really made something out of them. So I feel like the offense still has to capitalize on those opportunities. But glad to see the defense finally, step up and be able to get a few extra possessions.
Yeah. I would say the vibes are better, which is nice to see. I think this team has, tried to find some answers in difficult circumstances, certainly on the offensive end. I will say that the first half obviously was disgusting, and they had to try and, figure it out and work their way through it, obviously, to start out as well. What's up, Harold?
Good job.
Russ definitely struggled, to say the least. And we'll start, on that side of the ball as far as the defensive performance. I do want to get a little bit into the pass rush aspect of it, but we'll start on the back end. I mean, I think they had a really good plan as far as being able to keep the top on the defense, or I should say on the offense of the Giants, obviously keeping extra help over top of Malik Neighbors very specifically. Russ was going to try and beat them over the top the same way he did with the Cowboys, and they weren't going to allow him to do that. I thought Jalen Watson had a very good game. Noah Williams equipped himself pretty well as well. The safeties, played better for the second straight week, in my opinion. Brian Cook again had a nice outing as well. It was a nice all-around performance as far as the secondary was concerned. How do you guys feel about the defensive performance?
I loved it. Love the game plan. I think Spags again put together another great game plan, especially being able to contain a guy like Malik Neighbors. It's not an easy task to tell your secondary to go out there and do that, and I think they did a very good job of pretty much keeping him silent the whole game. Then Cam Scatterbook kind of shocked me, kind of surprised me in a sense. I didn't expect him to have a game like that, but I think that was also kind of indicative of them being more focused on trying to stop that deep passing attack for the Giants as well. So I thought the front four, although wasn't consistent, it looked a lot better. George Karlaftis looked a lot better this week. Chris Jones finally being able to get into the backfield and getting this sack or whatever. I thought they rushed. Yeah, I think they rushed better with a better plan, better contained. I think all in all, man, it was a good defensive effort from everybody, man. They look locked in, so hopefully that can continue to go on to this week, especially the matchup that's coming up against Lamar Jackson.
CJ, what about you? How you feel about the defense performance?
Yeah, secondary played better. I think they're putting guys in their proper positions now. I love the fact we saw a lot of Trent in the slot. Noel's getting a lot of the trust and love from Spag to play outside. And we always said coming into the season, him and Thornton are going to be fighting for that outside corner spot, which will allow Trent to move around. So I love to see the defense coming together like we all expected to be. Trent's being in the slot more. And then when we do decide to go 3 safety looks, it was Jaden Hicks that was inside the box more and more, so playing that nickel close to the line of scrimmage rather than Jamari. I love that adjustment because we all saw Jamari struggle in that spot. So I love to see Spag actually listening and watching the things and, correcting his mistakes on certain guys and just not to say they can't play, just putting them in positions where they can have a high impact on the roster. And I think when you do those things, the defense can be at their best when guys are in their proper positions. And we saw that Sunday night. They're not a perfect group by any means. They played good football the last 2 weeks. Hopefully we can continue that on Sunday, but they're taking steps in the right direction. The only other thing I would want to see moving forward would, like DG said, just want to see George continue to keep his foot on the gas and take over games. And it was good to see Chris finally get his first sack of the year, but eventually I want to see the snaps for Jeffrey Boss to go up as well, just to bring the athleticism on the field. And I'm sure based on certain matchups, he will play more. But he made a couple of adjustments that I wanted to see. So the defense definitely had a good night for me, for sure. And whenever you get 2 turnovers, it's always a cherry on top. Because that's been our biggest selling point for the defense, just to get turnovers. So when you get 2 of them, you win the turnover battle. More oftentimes than not, you're going to have a chance to win the game by more than 1 possession. And they did that on Sunday. So.
Yeah, and I thought that, again, he really started more so on the back end. I didn't notice anything kind of major as far as the I'm trying to think, the pass rush, there we go, was concerned, and it being significantly better, though. Some of the numbers would suggest it was, which, we'll see ultimately. I did want to go through and watch kind of the defensive pass rush snaps, specifically Omar Norman a lot on the field, because I think that this is ultimately what's going to come down to. Can you get more out of Omar? Can you get more out of Ashton Gelati to kind of make up for some of the things that you lack as far as veteran aspects of the pass rush is concerned? And it's just, hey, can you find success as far as that aspect? So I'm going to jump right into the film as far as that is concerned, because I do truly want to go through this to take a look at it. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. I was like, where'd it go? So we got Chris Jones, Charles Omenihu.
Kind of that NASCAR package shit we wanted to see.
Yep.
Charles, Ashton, George,
outside.
Chris. Yep, I like it.
There's a good win by Charles Omenihu inside here.
Yeah. I think Omar really brings some juice, especially to the middle of that interior, especially when you can line him and Chris up. I think he was in on Chris's sack when you got that. So I think Omar does a really good job of being able to provide something for them.
You got
and Leo too.
Yeah, Leo on the outside with Norman Lott and CJ inside.
Yeah, I'd like to see Leo in a lot more packages and as far as pass rushing.
That is a little bit of a tough thing. If you're going to have Leo as kind of that 4th down lineman, then a lot of times teams are just going to be fine with blocking him with tight end, which sometimes is not going to end up working out. But in this case, it certainly does, and that they can double a little bit out of Omar Norman Lott in addition to sending forward to CJ in that place too. So. I agree, Steve. I would like to see more pass rush as well.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement there.
I think as the year goes on, this 4-man front will get a lot better. I don't know how much more production you'll get out of it. I don't want to guess that, but I think that as the year goes on, they'll get a lot, especially as Omar gets a lot more comfortable as well too.
Yeah. Omar does a solid enough job pushing the guard back into Russ's lap, making it a little bit uncomfortable.
Absolutely. They've been getting it the last 2 weeks for sure. Out of necessity because, Fulton was hurt. Obviously, we know Mike Dana went down with injuries as well. We wanted to see them play regardless of the fact of the veterans, but guys are getting put in the fire early. Just like we said, we referenced our show yesterday about that 2022 class when Jay Watt, Josh, Trent, all the young guys had to play a lot more than some people probably expected them to because of necessity. And putting these guys in the fire now is going to pay dividends towards the end of the year. So
this is going to be a key portion of what it's going to look like next week as well. Obviously, with Lamar Jackson coming to town, about rushing with having pass rush integrity as far as your lanes are concerned. And I thought the Lions did an excellent job of that last night versus the Ravens. We'll talk about that in a bit, but they let Russ get out of here. I thought Omar Norman Lott got held a little bit here since Russ escaped.
Yeah, I was saying that too.
Yeah.
My pops was pissed, man. He's like, he got it.
And that ref looking dead at him too. That's the funny part. He likes a clean line of sight of Omar right there behind Scatterman.
CJ with a clean win there, and there
you go. Again, clean up the dough.
Yeah. Omar does a good job there, and Karlaftis of shutting it off after he tries to escape out the B gap there.
Effort. These are one of those weeks where you're not necessarily going for sacks, you're going for contain. If you can keep him in the pocket and you get the effort play, you stay in your rush lane, like DMac said, he'll come to you, which will often create sacks itself. So don't necessarily try to sack Lamar, just keep yourself in your lane and let him come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
this week
good.
you might see more of Leo being that spy.
For sure. Definitely see a lot of Leo.
Lamar.
Leo and Jeff want to see a lot of that speed on the field this week for sure.
I don't know if we're gonna get Jeff. I would like to see Jeff, but one thing that the Lions did was have kind of delay looks against Lamar to make sure that when he did try and kind of escape, that they had guys ready for that. And Leo's going to be a part of the spy aspect of that too. But it's just Chris Jones, beating his one-on-one there.
You should never leave him one-on-one.
And if you do, thank you very much.
There's no world where 95 should ever be left one-on-one.
In what world?
That is a disaster waiting to happen, especially from the interior. And I think that was like his first sack from the 3-tech in like a while.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Scatterboo had a real good.
I mean, he caught a lot of balls. I would like to see Bolton follow Scatterboo out here because he turns his head and he starts kind of going with that seam, but we've got coverage back there.
Yeah.
Nobody really creates all that much pressure though.
It's like out of all the guys, we're like Cam Scatterboo.
I mean, once Tyquan Tracy went down, they got to get the ball to somebody.
Yeah, true.
They didn't have much of a choice.
He was the ultimate RB1 at that point.
Maybe I'm a Scatterboo hater. I'm sorry.
Oh no, there've been plenty of people who didn't like his film coming out of Arizona State, and for good reason. But I mean, early on in the game where you had to show up, he did his job. So
yeah, he runs tough. I definitely give him that. Yeah. I think he's definitely a tough guy to bring down.
Catches the ball better than I thought he would too.
Yeah, too.
Definitely does run tough.
I think Jalen Watson played one of his better games from a physicality standpoint. He's been tackling very well the last 2 weeks. Yeah. I love to see that too.
Yeah, I think the safeties to me put it together another good week as well too.
For sure.
Shamari Brian Cook has been playing his butt off these last 2 weeks.
Facts. And again, I know Spags finally making adjustments. You saw Shamari in a lot more 2 deep. The safeties that were in the box was a lot of Jaden. So I think in that situation it helps a lot more because now you're not putting a lot of stress on Shamari to have to cover a lot of guys with speed. So
yes.
If it's an athletic guy in the middle of the field, I would much rather that be Jaden Hicks than if we're going to put a safety in that spot.
I did want to go back to that play real quick. I'm sorry.
Very good.
To the back.
There you go.
Yeah, basically. I mean, we just eliminated what they wanted to do, John. You could clearly tell in Malik Neighbors' face that they were frustrated, man. They couldn't get the ball down the field how they really wanted to.
Rightfully so.
And I think they
play left-handed, take away the strength.
A good rep here by Karlaftis, using a lot of power to go through inbound with the left tackle there, get some pressure on Russ. Force a quick throw to Neighbors.
Good rep.
Being in there.
And I think that's the biggest thing we want to say with George. Like, obviously, certain guys you can beat around with speed, but some guys just use your strength and physicality and put him in his lap because that would force him to get off his spot and open the lane up for someone else.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not for my thing with frustration with him is I'm not looking for you to the sack numbers. I know that they'll come eventually or whatever. I'm just looking for you to put your imprint on the game. You know, do something that's gonna affect the game, like collapsing the pocket, making Russ, Fire have to get rid of this when he doesn't want to, or whatever. Forcing errant throws, like that's gonna be a very important this week, especially coming up against Lamar. You're gonna have to rush with integrity, but also make him do things that he's uncomfortable doing.
This is a containment spot right here. Leo or Chris, one of them has to. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna Karlaftis here, and I think does a good job kind of rushing with power up the arc, and then is also ready to shut off that gap effectively. And they run a little game here on the right side, send Leo kind of looping around, which is, I understand the point of it, but it is a scary proposition. What I usually like to see, and a lot of teams do this versus Mahomes, I usually like to see crash with the defensive lineman inside and allow the athletic outside linebacker come looping out outside, because then that shuts off that contain aspect of it. And Leo still gets through the trash and tries and flashes enough to like shut off the angle and Russ throws the ball away. But I usually like to see that in reverse so that you pin that guy in.
Exactly.
specifically. And I hope that there are some things that they learned from how well Justin Herbert played and specifically scrambled against them in week 1, certainly.
If anywhere you want him to step up, you want him to step up, but don't let him step out.
Is that no? Yeah.
Again, I'll pull it back up so you can see. I believe it was, but I didn't see it specifically.
If it was opposite Jalen, that was
bad. Yeah, I think it's no.
Yeah, it's no. Yeah, he came over. He was ready to hit the cam.
He was about to he did that a couple times. Physical.
Yeah.
I told you.
He's a dog.
Spags has a type. Bro.
You got a dog in 20.
You got to hit, bro. He does that.
Yeah, I love the dog mentality out of that young kid. He's definitely
remind me of a young Jalen when they first came to the league. He's like, no fear. Just go out there and play balls to the wall. We need that.
That was a nice little bull rush from Omar. Put the guard in his heels. He just got a little help from the center to stay upright and stable there. It was a nice little job. Watson almost came up with the pick there.
Man, he got to catch that, hit him dead in the 3-5. Got to catch that. That's why you play DB.
He'll kind of collapse the pocket.
Mm-hmm. I thought I saw a little bit more explosion out of Omar Norman a lot this week, which was nice to see.
For sure. You can tell he's getting his feet underneath on that ankle injury isn't bothering him anymore. So he's getting a little better every week for sure.
Yeah, Harold, but you're gonna have to pick and choose your spots as far as when you want to blitz Lamar, because if not, he'll burn you as well too.
Yeah. And again, the Lions did a very good job. Obviously, the coverage on the back end was excellent, really, for them throughout the day. But specifically, they did a great job of blitzing with integrity within their lanes, and guys making sure that they were hemming Lamar in to do so. You can't just blitz willy-nilly, because otherwise that'll make it even easier for him to scramble and escape. Trying to see really.
Omar, just back to my point. It's not about getting sacks, Harold. It's just about staying in your lane. Lamar's going to come to you. He's going to move off his spot. We know he's going to want to extend plays. That's the type of player he is. So don't try to sack.
No, lost CJ.
Yeah, gap integrity, lane integrity, pass rush integrity. This is what this game is going to be about. If you don't do that, there's something that the Ravens will murder you on it. You know, you don't keep your gap, you don't keep your lane, you'll get smoked by them.
He will run, so just don't try to go for a sack. Just try to stay in your lane.
And it's the same thing with Derrick Henry as well too. Keep your gap. You played this guy before. Keep your gap integrity. Tackle with vengeance and get 3-4 hats on the ball.
Absolutely. And you see here the center and guard kind of just go away from Omar Norman a lot, so not necessarily a true win. And he's got to finish that play. He can't get bit by the pump fake and let the guy escape under. You can get your rush with your hands up, obviously, to try and distract him a little bit, but don't leave your feet. Make sure you secure him at the end there. But good job by Leo cleaning it up ultimately. So those are the Omar Norman lot rushes, and again, I just wanted to really go through that just because I thought it was a good look at what I thought was a very nice performance by him specifically, and again, seeing a little bit more athleticism and ability to explode off the ball, and they're going to need it because, like I said, this team needs the pass rush juice in general, but specifically given how some of the veterans have performed to start out, like it's going to be a big question mark to see if they can pull it off as well. We're losing CJ in and out here. But yeah, a little bit more spine on Lamar. I would like to see that certainly. We saw some of that in week 1 of last year, going up against them for the home opener too. So we'll see if they carry that on too. With that being said, we can go ahead and talk about the offensive side of the ball, I should say, about Tyquan Thornton. And what I thought was a really nice performance from him, obviously. Made a few different catches, had a few different third down conversions, obviously had the massive long catches we were making reference to earlier in the show. It really can't be understated how immensely necessary his breakout has really been and how much he's meant to this Chiefs team by being able to be a true wide receiver threat down the field too. So let me ask you, DG, I should say, Well, I'll ask you this question, and I don't want to make it negative out the gate, but do you think that, he is the best wide receiver currently on the team, and should he stay, wide receiver 3 when Xavier and Rice are back?
Yes, and yes. Tyquan Thornton is saving this receiving core at this point, and I think Hollywood Brown has had some good significant snaps and has helped as well too. I think he last Sunday night, I think he had a really underrated game as well too. He has some really decent routes and catches that really kind of helped as well. But Tyquan has really been the one that's been posing any kind of threat for real for opposing defenses up until this point. And I think a lot of teams around the league are going to start to look around and start to say, like, we got to do something about 80 now. So shout out to Breakout, man, for going out and finding a talent. He's so good at finding guys that are misses for other teams, but end up being wins for us as well too. I think Pat Mahomes said it best, and he's succeeded. Tyquan has exceeded even his expectations, even more than he thought to this point. So all that work in training camp and over the summer has really shown improvement for Tyquan Thornton. I think he's really found a home here and a role here. So when we really get going and Rice and Worthy get back, I would love to see him as that quintessential number 3 for them. And I think he really helps his team a lot, especially being able to stretch the field, being a deep threat. And he's shown he's got decent hands as well too, because that catch in the end zone on 3rd and 3 was not an easy play as well either. For Mahomes to fit that ball in there and then for him to make that play. We haven't seen that being able to be done here in a while. So. But yeah, man, Tyquan Thornton is definitely saving this receiving core.
Yeah, and the level that he's played at, like I said, has been incredibly necessary. CJ, I asked DG if he thought that Tyquan should stay as wide receiver 3 when X and Rice return.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the season, we all knew the pecking order was going to be Rashid and Zay to be the top 2 guys, and we were going to see who would, kind of separate and prove themselves worthy to be that number 3. And, everybody had their favorites coming into camp. Would it be Hollywood? Would it have been Juju, Tyquan? It was always a multitude of guys, and Tyquan stepped up in this moment. So, and I'm actually kind of glad it's him because I wanted someone else to take the deep pass pressure off of Worthy, like DG stated earlier, because coming into the season, if it was just going to be Worthy, it's going to be easier for teams to game plan against you knowing he's the only guy that can take the top off the coverage. So finding a value in a guy like Tyquan, who we brought in last year, to the guy he's become now. This is the guy we saw at Baylor in college. He's always been a deep threat and a guy who's very fast. And another 4-2, 4-3 guy to add to this group is only going to make us better. So if you want to call this like a watered-down version of the Zoom group we had back in the early 2020s, it's kind of looking that way when you have those 2 guys who can run down the field with so much speed and putting pressure on the back end. And then Rashid can work underneath, Trav can work underneath, Juju when given his opportunities, Hollywood. It just takes everybody's in their proper spot once we have everybody in the room fully healthy. So Tyquan at number 3 makes too much sense because he's proven himself worthy of it, of course, and he's made big plays for us downfield. It's never a question of could he play and get open. We all know Tyquan can run. The biggest thing is just wondering, could he catch the ball consistently? That was his biggest issue coming out of college. And obviously there were a lot of drops he had in New England, and that's credit to, quarterback play, system, losing situation, a lot of things in the environment that can make a player, play down to the level that they don't want to be at. But guys kind of play up to the standard they're supposed to be or play up their potential, as most people would say, when you're in a winning organization, again, a winning environment with better players. So I'm glad we're getting this version of Tyquan. It is the guy I was expecting him to be coming out of college. So I'm happy we're getting him with the Chiefs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing about it is like you said, he fits very well for what X and, Rice are going to be able to provide. Obviously, we know what Rice can do in the intermediate areas of the field and obviously short areas of the field. And now Xavier can be a more versatile wide receiver 2-piece rather than having to be sacrificed on those deep routes, because Thornton can obviously has shown the ability not only to convert those deep routes, but also even when he doesn't convert or just run them on a consistent basis, he stays in it for a long portion of the game and can always be that threat, which is exactly what you're going to call upon for these role players, really, that they're going to be as far as when Xavier and Rice are back. The rest of this room, Hollywood included, Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster and Jalen Royals, who obviously didn't get a snap last night when he was active for the first time as a Chief. Those guys are going to fit in off of those guys, when called upon, which is exactly what you want to see. To answer your question, Harold, as far as, Isaiah Pacheco had 2 god-awful plays during this game. He was overamped. He did everything that he said he was trying not to do as far as his press conference was concerned, which was, trying to get outside of himself. I want to say that I would run with Kareem Hunt and Brashard Smith primarily, but they're not going to do that. They're going to continue to use Pacheco, who still had some good carries when it was blocked up well. And they'll have opportunities again when it's blocked up well to take advantage. It's tough. As far as the A-chain trade, no, it's not possible. I know people keep suggesting. I don't know why. The Dolphins need all the cheap talent they can get, and it's not going to happen. But other running back trades are possible. I tweeted out last week. Rico Dowdle, Jerome Ford, more realistic options. And then, if the Jets keep losing, then maybe Brees.
Dowdle would be nice.
Who?
I think that Rico Dowdle would be nice.
Yeah, I think he did. And yeah, the Panthers are going nowhere fast, and he's on a 1-year deal. So I would think that he would be nice to add to this room too. With that being said, we can. I did want to say show this as far as the Tyquan Thornton, because you talk about the touchdown specifically. And again, we have talked about the deep threat. Obviously, showed him sticking the finger up after that really impressive catch earlier in the show. I did want to show this just because it's a nice little piece to see that he does have the ability to do other things, which we saw throughout this game. Obviously, we saw the kind of third down conversion that was meant for Hollywood Brown, and he was able to make the catch on to secure it as well. But this was a good instance, specifically a really good quarterbacking from Patrick Mahomes to be able to see this Kelsey flat route wasn't going to be there because Brian Burns is jumping in the air, and that pump fake gets Burns in the air and does a good job of coming back to the bottom of the screen of Tyquan Thornton. But I did want to show real quick, Tyquan Thornton off the line does a good job beating inside the corner to open up this window across Mahomes' face there. And Mahomes, again, does a good job of progressing. Hey, I see Brian Burns jumping out, making sure that that's not open. Say, okay, well, now I got to go to my next read. That pump fake also moved Okereke, opens up the window for Tyquan, and he fits the ball in perfectly where Tyquan makes a really nice sliding catch as well. And so that was a nice bit of
that Sally DG. Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Hit that bit. Yeah.
That was a nice bit of quarterback from Mahomes and a nice catch from Tyquan.
Way to be, Press Tyquan. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I was gonna say, if you want to look at something else on that play, man, Josh Simmons is growing, and I think a lot of people
like a guy.
Are gonna start. Yeah, a lot of people are going to start to realize. I think this kid may have a lot of potential with him. The way he holds up in that 1-on-1 against Kayvon Thibodeau, and Kayvon Thibodeau is not just a guy. He's a pretty good pass rusher as well too. But to set his anchor, to hold him for that amount of time, the clean pocket that Mahomes get. You see what happens when Pat can actually get a clean pocket and be able to get through his progressions and fire it in there, man. I think this play shows a lot of improvement for what this offense can grow into. It's been a little bit rough, to start out, but I think by the end of the season, you'll start to see that this offense really come to life, especially once they're able to get most of their weapons back. But great job by the offensive line, man, to set that pocket for him and be able to get through his progressions and good awareness by Mahomes as well too to get to that third read and fire that. And that pass was he's elite, bro. I'm sorry.
No money.
Yeah, he's elite.
Defender arm right here, ball right underneath. And I know we all want to give Trav a hard time because he hasn't played up to the standard the first 3 weeks. He'll be the first person to tell you that. But that route still showed the gravity that he applies to any defense. When he moved and ran his flat route, Burns jumped, like DMac stated. The safety and the linebacker both shifted over to him, knowing that he's usually Pat's go-to guy, which left the middle of the field in that window. Obviously, it was still a tough throw, but the window was more easier and cleaner to look for Pat because obviously people have that much respect for Travis Kelce even at this age. So, but no, hell of a throw by Pat. Great block by Josh. the offense, this is what when DMac asked the question earlier, is the offense heading in the right direction? I said, yes, they're doing steps. 1 week at a time, they're getting a little bit better. It's going to be a full product, hopefully by the week, maybe we get to the bye. But for now, we're getting better week by week.
Absolutely. And I think one you mentioned, obviously, the Rashee Rice aspect of it. I think people are underselling what Rashee Rice really can
I think
do
we
for
the
this
only
team.
ones that know how good he is, bro. It's like, all right, bro.
He's not an RPO merchant, man. He's like the diversification of his route tree was real last year. And what they asked him to do, he is this team's best pass catcher, and they asked him to do a lot of different things because he is the best pass catcher. But that's something to be talked about in the weeks to come. Obviously, Rashee Rice is back in the building, which is nice to see.
3 more weeks, bro.
Glad to see that, obviously. And also, I should mention, we got out of this game without any major injuries, which is also
Let's clap
nice.
it up for that. Let's clap it up for that, fellas.
Some weird things did happen. Josh Simmons did not play the last 6 snaps for some reason. They decided to put Jalen Moore at left tackle. I don't know.
A little experiment. You want to see that?
Yeah, I don't know. He said he wanted to get him some snaps, so there we go. But I will get to the Tell the Truth tape of the week, which we are going to break down Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia. And I specifically wanted to get to this, because last week we couldn't really look at both of these guys as we ran out of time, specifically in the pass protection sets. But on top of it, I wanted to look at it because this was, in my opinion, the biggest test of the defensive line that they were going to present, as far as what the Giants put out there with Dexter Lawrence, with Kayvon Thibodeau, but guys like Darius Alexander, obviously Brian Burns. So they've got a lot of different guys that you throw out there, and that's not even including the rookie and Abdul Carter too. So I wanted to take a look at how these guys on the left side performed, as this has been, I should say, this was going to be the biggest question mark coming into the season, and I think they could actually have responded at a really high level, specifically on the left side of the offensive line. But we'll go ahead and get it started, just looking at all the dropbacks ultimately that we saw out here from these guys. And this first one was just a nice little play action. Suamataia helping Kingsley out there.
Great pocket.
Kingsley helping, I should say. Josh Simmons on the island does his job there. Great pocket. And there was put out today based on PFF's charting, not necessarily just pure grades of, island rate between tackles and then how well they perform. Jawan Taylor's island rate is kind of middle of the pack, but Josh Simmons' island rate is one of the highest in the league, and the Chiefs have trusted him to do that from day one, but he is performing at that level as well. He was sandwiched in between Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, who are the best tackle duo in the National Football League. And so he is performing at an extremely high level, and the Chiefs are trusting him at a high level as far as how much he's on the island too.
Yeah, I think Kingsley is definitely growing. You can see what significant game snaps actually do for a kid's confidence. And I think a lot of people just you really have to understand, bro. Kingsley's still a kid, and like as much as people want to harp on him and get on him, especially in the NBA,
22 years
having
old,
to switch positions as well too in the middle of your early career. It's not an easy thing to do. So I think a lot of people have to kind of err with grace, just because he's still trying to learn and grow in this league as well too. You can't do that with just practice reps and sitting on the bench and watching. So you're gonna have to let him go through his growing pains. But I think this week he really showed a lot of improvement, and it shows what significant snaps really can do for you.
Yeah, and you see him one-on-one with Dexter Lawrence here. He does a good job at catching that inside hand, not allowing him to get control there, and just doing enough to keep him on the outside edge as Mahomes gets to slant off to Juju.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna win a lot of his reps on the inside just based off his athleticism and how well he can be able to move his feet in there. I think that's gonna end up being his saving grace. Just the amount of reps that he's had at tackle in college and kind of in the pros, I think is going to help him grow into being one of the better guards in this league.
I mean, for Kingsley, obviously we knew he had a lot on his plate, on top of the fact of Josh, but even more so Kingsley going against a guy like Jalen Carter, Dexter Lawrence. We said it was going to be a tough 2-week stretch to see how he performed. For the past 2 weeks, I think he's performed above average, well, for what we expected him to do. So it's only going to get better for him week to week. And you play against a guy like Dexter Lawrence, who was a double-digit sack guy at D tackle last year. So to go out there and hold your own and play very well to expectation, I think the sky's the limit for Kingsley. He's only going to get better. We know how elite Josh is. He was expected to be that guy from day one. He's played like the only question we have is the injury. So far, so good. We haven't had any news or any setbacks that he's been playing up to par. If Kingsley can continue to build on this, obviously, we'll see the status if Matabike plays for the Ravens this week because we know he didn't play Monday night for them. But it's a lot different when you don't see guys like Jalen Carter and Dexter Lawrence in front of you 2 weeks in a row. So it's going to be fun to see Kingsley growth and improvement on the years to come.
Yeah, definitely glad you mentioned. Obviously, Justin Matabike not being out there will be massive for the Ravens, and we'll get into the matchup portion of that there. Both of these guys on the island, Kingsley doing a good job. Simmons gets a little bit of a long arm initially that pushes him back from Carter, but does re-anchor effectively and kind of stop him dead in his tracks, ultimately allow Mahomes to get the throw off. Tyquan just, maybe a little bit touch outside that Tyquan could drag his feet in bounds.
Stab drag.
Yeah.
Got Burns and Rogue Roberts Harris lined up towards that side there. Just a little RPO slide to Hollywood to get him outside. And I thought there was a little bit better of a plan, to diversify the offense. Maybe not necessarily in the first half as much, but it came alive really in the second half. That scheme did open up really well. So they walk Abdul Carter up here straight over Kingsley, try to create those one-on-ones, and Carter gives him a little, kind of swim, stab, and then spins off of him. This was the swim stab came later on.
Oh, that's not the spin. I know what you did. He set him up.
Yeah, that's funny. So we'll get to it. But Carter sets up the spin move later on because Kingsley actually stonewalls his swim move here that he ends up trying to Euro step into. Josh Simmons absolutely locking it up in a nice pocket there that Mahomes went through multiple reads there and eventually dumped it off and missed Travis Kelce as he drifted upfield too on the short one.
I think that communication is getting better too.
Facts.
Yeah, I saw that. Hopefully, we'll see if it comes up later on. But I thought that they did a good job of passing off some of the stuff too. Kingsley going to snatch Thibodeau down here, pretty much in that rush. Simmons pushing the edge rusher out wide, making sure that doesn't work for Carter.
Die slow, Juwan.
Yeah, Juwan on the other side from Burns. Just
die slow, man. Give him a second.
But that's a nice rep from both of those guys. Isolated versus two good pass rushers. Simmons pushes Carter ride. Suamataia pretty much just snatches Thibodeau and ends that rush. So good job there.
I want to give a shout out to that ref behind refs on this play. Me and Jeff Schwartz tweeted this out week 1. We saw this a lot. I can't stand when D linemen rush into a lineman's chest and they try to get to you and you knock his hands down so he naturally falls forward because he's rushing and they call that holding. I can't stand that call. So in this situation, I'm glad he didn't call a hold on Kingsley because obviously Kayvon's trying to rush and then he recovers and gets himself up. I'm just glad that the refs are starting to notice those things and not calling those. Yeah,
I mean that is the snatch technique that offensive linemen are taught to do. If you try and rush through my chest, I'm going to go like this, and then when I knock your hands down, you're going to come down too. So like that's how it's going to end up going. So I agree with you. Glad that they obviously didn't falsely call Kingsley for holding on that.
There's your communication, DG. He whispered to Kingsley before the snap.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was watching Jawan.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Jawan, was Jawan lined up incorrectly on this too?
Was this the flag? He didn't get a flag on this play.
No, I don't think he got a flag, but
not on this one.
Still lined up incorrectly. Look at that line.
The split is fine. I'll go ahead and we can go to the sideline for it.
Yeah, his backline view. He probably needs to be. I mean, his foot looks like it's breaking Trey's belt line, but
let me see something. Hold on.
Yeah, I agree, Harold. It's getting to that time.
He is. I would say he's probably technically, but I think he's technically illegal here because he is behind him.
His helmet's behind Trey, so.
His helmet is probably in line with Creed's butt. So you can take that for what it is. So it's borderline, I would say. But it's not egregious to where it should be called.
Oh, man. It's debatable.
We'll get to the end zone view here to see the left side of the line and how they go. Suamataia doing a little bit of communication or I should say Simmons doing a little bit of communication to Suamataia here. Ends up being a one-on-one pretty much with Dexter. A little chip help on the outside with the tight end on Burns. versus Simmons. Dexter bull rushes, and does a good job.
Kingsley did a good job of anchoring, holding his own. It's not an easy task, man. Going up against an all-pro.
It's a full breakfast.
Right. That's a full-grown man in there, man. Dexy's not a easy guy to go up against, especially as a 22-year-old kid, man. I thought they did a good job this week too of using motion as well too. And kind of getting the Giants different, a little bit of different looks, getting that some of their linebackers' eyes moving. Love the motions that were used with Rashard Smith coming into the game and being able to use his speed and getting him on the outside as well. So hopefully that continues this week.
Fact, using him and Nico was huge.
Yeah.
Just having their motions in the game for sure.
Right. Screen game came back this week as well.
Yep.
It was nice to see. I think that's something they're going to have to use going into this matchup against the Ravens.
Exactly.
Also,
use their aggressiveness against them. Obviously, this is a group that's bottom of the league in stopping the run. I know our run game hasn't been nothing to snuff about and brag about, but to DG's point, you have to take advantage of their weaknesses. And right now, they're not stopping the run very well. So I expect them to sell out a lot this week, DG. So this is the week, like you said, to use your screen game, your play action shots, your misdirections, all the things that we talked about yesterday on Kingdom Cast, and I posted them on my timeline about plays we're slowly integrating into our offense this year. These are the weeks to use them because the Ravens are definitely going to be a pissed off unit. They didn't play well at all last night on Monday night, so I expect them to come out their hair on fire, more specifically on defense. So I expect to see a lot of pressure up front. They're probably going to play a lot of cover one. I'm sure they don't respect our receivers like most teams don't. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of man coverage this week, which means screens and jet sweeps. A lot of the motions that we saw are going to be pivotal for us this week. So a lot of those things we want to see, we're going to need them a lot, especially with we getting number one Worthy back in the offense. It's going to be even more imperative that we get his hands on the football for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we get it back.
Hey man, cross. Hey, this DMac, stop saying.
My fingers are crossed.
I think you do in some capacity, but I don't think it's a full.
Yeah, that would be a full workload.
Yeah, full workload for Xavier, but I think you get them back in them.
I had a feeling they were going to wait till a home game. If you're going to bring a guy back, you want him in your environment, not on the road, especially with a field like that's cursed for football players. Which,
yeah,
not real grass.
That stadium is cursed. They need to change that ASAP.
This is a good job screen design here. They let Dex, kind of flail out there. Simmons or Suamataia helps out Simmons pushing it up the field. Mahomes gets the ball out there. Obviously, Dexter's really out of the play. Suamataia and Creed and Trey are outside. Trey's going to peel back just to make sure, hey, Dexter's not going to make a play here. And again, Sua just can't overrun that. Got to be ready. Stay inside.
Gotta get him.
Don't overrun that first guy there. Got to be better as that.
Work inside out.
Especially if it's Brian Burns. Brian Burns is a dude. You gotta contain Brian Burns.
You want to make him go outside of you because we want to create the lane right here along the hash. So make him go outside of you and keep that lane.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't underestimate your athletic ability. You don't have to rush. You have the athletic ability to be under control and make it happen. So And if you are going to throw and miss DMac, throw at him to where he like I just said, make him go around you. Don't miss to where he gets to go inside of you. Because if he goes around you, this is more room for Kareem to work. Creed Humphrey threw himself at this DB right here, DG. Obviously, he didn't get enough contact, but just the fact that he missed making the defender move would have given Kareem more decision. Maybe he could have juked back outside and then got outside of Creed's block and then got down the sideline. But the first block is always the first one you want to create that lane along the hash to get up the field. Never a great sign when you're throwing screens to Kareem Hunt at this stage in his career, but that's where we're at with the running back room. What'd you say, DG?
I was saying Zero's a guy, man.
Brian Burns.
That dude everywhere on Sunday night. Like, I got a lot of respect for his game. Yeah, this
Kingsley
is
helping.
15.
Yeah, this is 15-15. So obviously, we can get the Mahomes scramble portion of this play. I wonder if it is built into the protection here. Hey, we might have to leave the tight end on a defensive end. Hey, if you can help out effectively, peel back and help him out just in case. And I wonder if it's built into it. Somebody was like, oh, look at 76. He doesn't know where to go. Like it probably is built into the protection plan. Hey, you're peeling back to help out on the edge man just in case. And obviously Trey comes in and helps out there. He gets inside of Josh Simmons. Mahomes, doing Mahomes things. He does a great job of finding Juju on this play. I'll play it full through so we can appreciate 15 doing his thing. Step back. Oh, whoop, whoop.
Oh, tight. Watch out, fella.
Hold on. I got you.
And then Dan Orlovsky is like, he's having to do too much. Like he does this all the time. Like what are we
that's
talking?
A normal,
this is
normal
just
15
him being him. You can't do that, Dan. That we don't want you doing that.
We know you.
You might end up running out the back of the end zone if you try and do it.
Yeah.
You don't know your integrity where the lines are, Daniel. So that's why you would do too much in this situation.
Setting up the little mid tight end screen here. This is a lot of chaos going on, to be perfectly honest with you.
Trey said,
they get Suamataia kind of out there, get Creed out there a little bit, and Creed just can't necessarily get and handle that safety in time there. But a lot of chaos. And look, the tight end juice there just isn't enough to get into it. And we've seen plenty of tight end screens at this point in which guys are available to it. The Juju screen that they get to a little bit later on is the one that I like based on how they can set it up. Yeah. I don't like the tight end mid screen as much, especially based on how much we've shown it.
It's it's easy to cover too, because he's just standing there and just turning around, so it's no threat of him moving anywhere.
That's one of those plays where Patch just got to dirt that, throw it at the feet, and next down.
For sure.
It wasn't working.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you on that. Setting up a 1v1, obviously, for Thibodeau on the right side, lining up Carter, Dex, and Burns on the other side. I mean, this is tough. Nothing but good pass rushers across the field. They flop it over. Carter and Dex shift over, and they're just going to kind of run, try and keep the one-on-ones for Kayvon and Carter on Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor. Get the ball out quickly to Noah Gray, but good work from the offensive line there. Nothing bad happened, which is nice to see.
Who needs more targets?
Yes, it would be nice to get Noah Gray more involved. Not in the tight end screen game specifically, but just in general.
Usually when you throw the ball, he has one of the highest catch rates on the team. So I feel you. I mean, and these wasn't some of the most targets he got this week. So it was good to see Noah get more involved for sure, at a necessity, obviously.
Little RPO, if he had handed it off, might have gone for a nice game. But, seemed like it was blocked up well. But first down to Tyquan there.
Yeah, I love when the Chiefs get into their quick pass game. I think that's when they're most effective. I think they've run it better than any other team in the league. I don't know why they go away from it sometimes. It's annoying.
I'm saying, did you? The tempo. We play so much better when we play fast, bro.
You just that start buying into what you are now. You're not that team anymore that can score on 3 or 4 plays like you used to be able to. Now you need the 9-10 play drives. Just methodically go down the field, take what the defense gives you.
Everybody doing their job up front. Taylor against Burns loses a little bit later into the down, but Josh Simmons locks up Thibodeau. Kingsley, kind of creating that crunch inside on Dex, getting four hands on Dex, which is exactly what you need there. Yeah, Creed honestly helps both guys out ultimately, but offensive line, good job on that play as well.
Yeah, there's still flashes of 87 in there sometimes, man. He had a nice little pivot route, I think, on a crucial third down that they were able to I was just like, that's just Pat and Trav being Pat and Trav.
Get the ball out quickly to Brashard Smith outside here.
Yes. Please get this kid more involved. His explosiveness and what he can do in the receiving game as well, I think it's going to help them out a lot. I cannot wait till Andy just dials up a nice wheel route for him to just burn a linebacker or something.
Facts, or give him an option route out of the backfield. I know his playbook and his package in the playbook more simply. It's on the way, it's coming, but it's just that moment in time when we have that drive, kind of like the Worthy drive we saw his rookie year, when we just kind of gave him the ball in that Buffalo game where it was really nothing but Worthy. I think we're going to do the same thing with Brashard one of these games where he's just going to get a lot of touches and a lot of plays designed for him. I think Andy's kind of saving it for a big moment for sure.
And so here again, I know it's the tight end bubble stuff has worked in the past, but Kelsey's just not this player that you want to throw tight end bubbles to.
Not in this year, bro.
And the unfortunate thing is Carter is going to crash late and kind of show blitz. Ultimately, that actually puts him in a bad position to defend the run, and you would like Mahomes to hand this ball off here because there's going to be a real hole there based on how things look.
Hand it off. Look at the hole.
Yeah, so
you got Josh right here, Kingsley up on backer. That's a nice lane. Creed cut him off. That's a good lane.
Yeah, so that's a tough one. This is the part of the RPO game that we talk about, though. Mahomes has to be willing to hand the ball off.
Give it up, Pat.
Yeah, and he's got to get out of the mode in which Travis Kelce one-on-one with DB is a positive thing. It's not the case anymore, unfortunately.
No.
So
I don't. Are you right?
So no, go ahead, DG. If you.
I was about to answer. I think it's just what DMac kind of just said, Caleb. You want to on that play. It's more on Mahomes than it is on Trav at that point.
Yeah,
you gotta hand the ball.
You don't gotta throw it, bro.
Hand the ball.
You don't have to throw it.
You don't have to throw it. Don't do it.
Obviously, when we're watching the broadcast, we can't see that. We're just kind of thinking like, well, what the hell are they doing, throwing a bubble screen to Trav? But I think that's more of a 15's decision that you just got to get that ball off and live with the yardage that you're going to get.
Facts. Or if like this, DG, let's have an audible in the situation. You can give obviously Juju a signal or a look. Hey, if it really is a 2-on-2 situation, and I don't like the bubble with Trav, I could have Juju fake stock block and run a slant. It's a more comparable route more so to the concept. I just don't like the fact, like you said, of throwing a screen ball to a 35-year-old tight end who doesn't have juice like that anymore. Yeah. So give the concept more life by giving it more options. So in Juju, if I see this here and I see this look as 2-on-2, rub my fingers, do my chin strap, whatever signal you want to give, like, all right, Juju, instead of blocking here, you're going to stock block and the DB's automatically assuming it's a screen, then you just break inside for a slant, then you get open. So just little concepts you can build off the concept. So
yeah, and I thought that this play, they did an okay job dealing with this stunt here. I think that they didn't necessarily pass it off perfectly well. Dexter ends up getting underneath Simmons and technically would have a chance at a pressure there. The big issue there is Tyquan gets ran through his chest by Brian Burns on the edge there, and Mahomes ends up having to get rid of the ball very quickly to Juju over the middle. Like it's deflected away. So bad snap by Jawan Taylor, bad loss, and okay, I guess I'll say as far as passing off the stunt there.
I don't know how they continue to sit here and keep watching, man. Like at some point, you got to see that this guy is killing you, man. Like, and I know you're paying him a lot of money or whatever, but it's gonna cost your team a game at some point. Like, and you don't want it to be a game that's really pivotal to you. You've already put yourself in a hole as far as starting off 1-2. I think they got to make the switch, man. At some point, Jalen Moore is going to have to play. Josh has already proved to you that he can hold the left side. We'll
see.
And I don't know if Jawan is still hurt or like something. And maybe it's still the injury that's lingering. Didn't they say about something about him going down Brazil? He's still having to get his knee drained or.
Wait, he was before he left. Concerned that he was going to have to get it drained again after they got off the flight since it was so long and stuff. Exactly. And again, it's like that obviously was a terrible rep. He's generally been okay outside of the penalties, which we are going back to continuing to say. And at what point does it feel untenable for the Chiefs? But I say it again, they want to have Jalen Moore be able to be the versatile backup for them because he can just be a one-to-one of replacements for so many places. So do you put that at risk? Theoretically, to limit the penalties of Jawan Taylor, I don't know if that ends up working out in your favor. We'll see if they end up pulling the move. It's just Dexter Lawrence one-on-one with Kingsley and just beats him. Forklifts his hands there. Anytime you get the same hand and same leg off the ground going in the air at the same time,
not looking good. That's
the defensive lineman's got you exactly where they want him. So he lifts up that left hand, left leg is already off balance as well. and just uses that to gain leverage and push right through him to Patrick Mahomes. Also, another great rep for Josh Simmons versus Brian Burns, who ultimately runs through him and is able to get into Patrick Mahomes' face as well off that play too. So, that's a bad play for both of them.
Welcome to the NFL, kids.
It's an all-pro in front of you, boy.
Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns. Good luck, brother. I was surprised by how often they had Carter line up at linebacker.
I was too. I was like, that's really weird, but okay.
I know they want to get him on the field in any capacity, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't like
he was spying Pat a lot towards the end of the game, so I guess they were trying to match speed for speed. So,
this is second quarter. This is prior to the Thornton touchdown that we showed earlier. So Brian Burns does a good job getting his hands up, knocking that down there. This would be a prerequisite to Mahomes using that against him later on.
To not give him. I think Jalen was suited up more so if somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't ever think they were really going to use him. I think you'll probably see some more snaps from him this weekend, being at home.
Yeah. I would like to see Royals out there, but it does appear like they just wanted to use him in or whatever, which is fine. Just hopefully at some point we see him out there. We'll see.
In this situation, obviously, I would like to see him play Caleb, but it wasn't really going to change much, honestly, for the offense. I think he'll definitely give us some more juice to the offense. He can do a lot of good things for us, but bringing him into this situation, the game was in hand. Like we said earlier in our other show, it didn't really feel like we were out of this game. So there's really no need to break the glass and bring in a rookie. We weren't really – the offense was struggling, of course, but I don't think Jalen Rose would have went there and changed too much, honestly. But eventually he will play. The time will come. But this is a deep receiver room for a reason. And I'm glad he's getting to learn and getting the concepts down and seeing how guys react and watching film and, correcting yourself mid-game, watching the plays, obviously in the meeting rooms and things of that sort. It's only going to make him a better player. But by the time we get to the bye week, I think you'll see Jalen Rose start to have an imprint on this offense, whether it be small or to little. I think he'll have some type of plays eventually for sure. But early in the season, I don't think there's no need to play him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, hey, you hope that he comes back, looking like himself, because I thought he looked pretty good during preseason specifically too.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out what I was going to say here. There we go. They set up kind of a 5-man look so that way they create the one-on-ones across the board there. Kingsley does a solid enough job versus Dexter, even though he started to turn him, gives up some ground there, but ultimately dies slow, like we always talk about. And then Simmons versus Kayvon on the outside, nothing really to report back as far as that. And he hits Kelsey over the middle. So solid rep there.
I think you can start to see too that Pat is definitely starting to trust them a lot more as well too. Being able to kind of sit back there and go through his progressions and things of that nature and having the confidence to kind of, step up in the pocket and fire the ball.
That's the biggest thing, that you're stepping up in the pocket, not stepping out, trying to contain, having the confidence that you're inside can step up. Yeah. Obviously, when you're playing with Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith for the last 3-4 years, it's a lot different than losing those guys. So every game they're getting their trust higher and higher with each other for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see as much. I didn't see as much happy feet this week for Pat. There were points in times where I think he knew he had to kind of take off, but I thought for the most part he stood in the pocket and he took some hits, but at the same time was able to stand in the pocket and kind of go through his progressions and work his way down the field.
Good swim move by Dexter Lawrence. Creed is there to help out.
Yep.
Home scrapes out the outside there. I'm surprised Carter didn't get a penalty there.
In fact, he kind of dragged him down a little bit after the ball was gone. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, that was but there was a play later on in this game where Pat made him look silly.
I know which one he's talking about.
And that was definitely his welcome to the NFL moment.
Yeah, it was. So this is going to be the deep ball. Ultimately, that was just a little bit late to Thornton, but it was also because there was pressure in his face here, and I think it was because Jawan gets beat. But I could be wrong. Maybe Trey gets beat by Abdul. I can't remember. Oh no, it was Simmons around the edge.
Josh,
yeah.
He lost to Kayvon. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kingsley does a good enough job, but Kayvon it hits him with a nice outside move.
Yeah, even with chip help.
And again, like I said, this is the hand placement is always the biggest thing. And Josh generally does a good job, but you actually, I'm going to go back to the last rep because I think it's important to show this specifically. If you go back to the last rep, and it's going to be Kayvon versus Simmons. I know it's going to be super zoomed in to show this. This is the rep right before this. Simmons is going to kind of. Oh no, it's the same one. Is it the same one? Yeah,
he's still in the fight. Kingsley, goodness gracious, son.
No, that was a rep before. You went back to the same.
Yeah, I was trying to get to this one. I think it's going to be this one. I hope it's going to be this one. Yeah, so you see Simmons is using that outside hand to control him outside, and people will be like, "Oh, is that hold it?" It depends. The defensive players kind of got to sell it to really get a holding call like that. But Simmons has a tendency to kind of wrap up and kind of contain his edge rushers that he's going against. So Kayvon is going to see that and kind of use that against him at a certain point, obviously, as we go throughout this game. And I'm going to go back to these next two reps to see if he tries to forklift him, because he got him on the rep that you'll see after this one at least. But he goes through, and then that time he uses the swim ghost move to get around Simmons, which just gives him a little. I'm gonna swipe that hand. I'm gonna get outside your hand so that you can't wrap me up like you did previously, and then get around you and swim underneath. That's not a swim. That's a rip. Sorry, it's a rip, and it's not considered a hold if you do use a rip. Just that's always something we got to say when we get to football time. And then this one you're gonna see he specifically sets it up so he knows, hey, he's trying to get me outside. I used the kind of the what's it called? The outside to get some leverage, make sure my hand was outside him, try and go around him. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to forklift that outside hand, get it in the air, and then be able to beat him. He just catches that hand when he tries to put it out there. And again, this is the things that Josh Simmons, obviously in his third game playing, is not necessarily going to have a great deal of ability to do. But that's why versus good pass rushes, you have to mix up the looks that you give them when you stab them, how you're punching, where your hand placement is, because they will eventually catch on and try to use it against you, which Kayvon does a good job of doing that here.
No, you could have gave him a little bit of better tip help too.
If you're gonna chip him,
like come on, dog. What was that?
Little Ole, freshman say.
Really tripped him.
Come on, dog. You gonna chip him? Hit him! Shoot.
He said, "Put your hands on him. Do something."
Bruh, like he gave him a little love tap, like
a little patty cake. Should have Ray Rob. He was gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah, motion again. Love the fact that they use motion a lot more this week.
Thanks. Spread on the red zone.
I like to see this a lot more too. Yeah, sprint out, roll in the pocket, kind of. I know it didn't work there, but
too much on depth. Yeah, usually sprint outs are good for like under 5. You do quick action to just beat them to the pylon. These are things like Miko was great at. So
there was a play that they had Hollywood on a kind of a sprint out earlier. Is this?
Well, this is more the play action slide play here. But this was a really nice route by Hollywood on the outside too, and obviously moving the pocket. Mahomes hits him in stride, get the row. Good conversion.
On a rope, dog.
On a rope.
Absolute seed.
He's so good, man.
Kingsley help outside.
15 is so good, dog.
Good route, Travi.
And this is I'm actually going to show it here because this is a good. Again, gets that outside here. They're both kind of fighting for it, but Kayvon Thibodeau uses that rip move, and people are going to be like, "Well, he's holding him. Can't get a holding call when you use a rip move. That is a rule. So that is legal for Kingsley or for Simmons to do there. So Good job by Simmons holding him up. Good route by Travis Kelce to get open. Kingsley was
tip.
helping inside for Creed.
Oh, was
there,
that? That was that pivot route I was talking about.
Yep, that was a pivot route. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
Pat
the
and Trav
James
just being
Harrison
Pat
rule.
and Trav.
I love they added that rule. That's a James Harrison rule because we all remember that Steelers game when we lost
my
on
God.
the holding call in the red zone because he wanted to rip and fall down. So that means he was holding him when clearly he decided to fall. So I'm glad they added that to the rules. Thank you.
And the RPO, which actually this RPO was the right decision to make sure you threw it outside. I think that was hemmed up pretty well based on what that looked like.
Exactly. No lane there. Okay, now you take
Well, maybe if he ended off, maybe the cutback could have been there. Hollywood does.
Yeah, where Pop has seen it.
Pacheco and cutback.
No. Maybe a little bit too high expectations.
He said, I didn't mean to.
No offense, Pop.
We love you, Pop, but just we know our strengths.
Yeah, we love you.
We know what I mean?
We know our strengths and we know our weaknesses.
You gotta see that, man.
Hey, KYP, know your personnel, baby.
Know your personnel. Quick outside bubble to Juju, which it's outside bubble to Juju, so that's not great.
Oh yeah, we watched them, Caleb. With the respects, hold on, just give us a second. With segments coming up.
Oh, we gonna put him to rest. Don't you worry.
The segment is coming, I promise.
He officially got benched. Oh, don't you worry, son. It's coming.
Again, this is a touchdown that we talked about earlier to Tyquan, but good rep from the guys. Like you mentioned, Josh Simmons locked up Kayvon Thibodeau to the bottom of the screen, and Patrick Mahomes with a beautiful throw for a touchdown. Gorgeous into the window.
Freaking scene, man.
Defender's hand with right there.
Good out.
That's
Thornton.
one of those plays where you're just like, what? How did the hell he fit
that in there?
Yeah. $15 so good, man.
Yeah, once again, good job from Kingsley. Good job from Josh Simmons.
This Noah
again, and this is this is the Noah Gray pivot for a nice little first down conversion there. Does a good job of getting open. I do want to go back again. This is where Kingsley's athleticism, specifically on his lower half, can save you. Even though Dexter does a good job at catching that outside stem again with his left hand, it's just he moves his feet well enough, can replace that left hand because his feet are on balance, and is able to wall him off well. So again, that's the athleticism of a tackle being placed in at guard, where Dexter Lawrence versus a less athletic tackle is able to get by him. Kingsley is able to keep his lower base in phase, for lack of a better term, and be able to wall him off.
That tackle work coming into play.
Got to move them puppies.
That's where it comes. That's where it comes in handy to be an athletic guy. Burns and Carter on the edge. Thibodeau lined up over Kingsley. Little quick RPO. And that was the one on, I think it was 3rd and 2. Was it? Yeah, 3rd and 1.
I wish they would have been able to hit on this.
If Pat can put more air underneath that's 6, bro. I mean, Tyquan could have been to
that was a tutty.
But he has a beat. Just throw it over the top and let him go get it. Because he has to go to the sideline to adjust to it. So
I don't know if it's maybe because Gray doesn't get anything on Burns, but just if he just takes a second, just takes a second to set his feet. He can set his feet, get the ball over the top to Tyquan. He obviously wants Tyquan to turn around a little bit quicker, which I understand why.
Yeah, for sure.
And bend it outside too. So it's just one of those things where
timing.
New guy, he's a little bit off. However they wanted to go, could have been better on both ends there.
It's gonna come back.
It's coming though.
Yeah, it's gonna come back.
We'll see that again. We'll see that again for sure.
Could be this week.
Yeah,
right, bro. The way that Baltimore secondary look.
Juwan just gets beat inside by Thibodeau pretty badly here.
I got another
Thibodeau catches his inside hand there, and then also just swipes off of him, and that kind of ends that play there.
Well, that's over with.
Yeah,
they did a good job on the other side, though. Nothing got from the other side. Just Thibodeau beat Taylor.
Good decision, my Pat. Man,
get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Nothing you
Throw
can
it
do.
away. So this is, I believe, yeah. Is that no? That's not this. Sorry, that was the other one. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so this is they run a stunt here. They collapse the right side of the line here. Carter kind of gives a stutter step and then is going to run outside like we talked about earlier. However, I like the linebacker to kind of loop outside to keep the quarterback in the pocket while also applying pressure at the same time. I thought that it could have done a better job at passing this off, really all three of them. Creed, allows himself to get pushed inside, doesn't really recognize it in time to be able to slide off, to allow Kingsley to slide off, and then allow Josh Simmons to slide off. And then also, I should say Simmons does an okay job at least getting a piece of Carter there enough. But the pressure really just comes from Trey Smith and Dexter one-on-one. Dexter beats him inside. But Mahomes is Mahomes, does enough. And I do want to point this out because this is the play where Tyquan undercut the ball, but this ball is going to be in stride to Hollywood Brown and hit him as well. So, it would have been a completion to Hollywood as Mahomes was throwing it to him. Tyquan was just pressed at the line of scrimmage, so he got hung up. And instead of running the clear out route, he happened to be in this space at the right time to catch this ball instead. So, end up being a completion. So,
don't worry about the Hollywood. I got it.
Works either way.
Hollywood was like, bro, what are you doing?
He said, bro, you messing up my
Yeah, that was my ball.
I know he didn't mean my fault, game. My fault.
Yeah, my bad, gang.
My fault. That's on me. My bad.
Mm-hmm. I think still though, Hollywood still has some good reps, man.
Even in the limited snaps.
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he did have some good reps. It's just that's one of the things. It's like, and that is one. That's always one of those. Is it this guy getting worse or this guy getting better? The reason why we're saying Tyquan Thornton being wide receiver 3 when X and Rasheed are back is not necessarily a bad Hollywood Brown thing. It's more so his specific fit and skill set with those other two guys, and B, just how good he's played for this team, to start out the season. So it's not a bad thing, the fact that you are going to have him as wide receiver 3, Hollywood Brown as wide receiver 4, Juju was wide receiver 5, and Jalen Rose as wide receiver 6. That's a very good thing for this team when Rasheed and X are back.
That's a luxury for sure.
Yeah. Little quick.
Come on, Quan.
Interesting. So they're running stick basically to everybody. Hollywood's going to run a quick out. Kelsey's going to do Kelsey things. He ends up getting doubled here. No, Greg getting to run a little bit pivot inside, but Tyquan is the guy that runs the deep route. Funny enough, and I wonder he didn't give.
Good job by Pop as well too to pick up this pressure.
I was wondering to see if there was any type of a signal out to Tyquan to run the deep route, but it doesn't seem like there is on this route. But the guys up front are just cut block and really try and get guys on the ground pretty quickly here. Obviously, you can see Simmons is on the ground. But Tyquan just beats his man off the line of scrimmage, throw the ball deep. Pacheco with a nice blitz pickup, by the way, there.
Yeah.
And Tyquan just unfortunately doesn't bring it in, but they run a sim pressure ultimately. They drop Burns out and only send 4. They drop Burns out and they add on Carter and the linebacker from the inside. And Pacheco is responsible 51 for Carter coming from depth. Does a good job blocking it up. Mahomes
Mano.
Yeah, delivers it on the money to Tyquan, and Tyquan unfortunately did not bring it in there.
I gotta catch that.
Gotta grab that one. But hey, if you're gonna drop that one, make up for it on the next rep. That's the only thing that you can't do. Short memory. Stick the finger in the air, baby.
He said, I got this one.
I got it.
Right.
Okay, so if you remember earlier, I talked about Carter setting up a move, and he's going to do it here. One-on-one with Suamataia, does the little Euro step swim move inside and then sets it up with a spin move back outside, which is a disgusting combination for anybody to have to deal with, to be honest with you, and certainly a guard. But Carter does that, ends up applying pressure. Mahomes does Mahomes things. It makes it not matter. Tyquan makes a great catch. Stick it up, baby.
Yeah.
Great job.
Abdul definitely showed that he's got a great future in this league.
Oh, yeah,
what he's going to be able to, especially when he starts to be able to get the pass reps.
His speed and athleticism is just crazy stuff.
And I think that's a big thing to say. Like, we came into this game thinking that this was going to be the major test for what this defense, what this offensive line was going to be talking about. And I actually it wasn't like the defensive line for the Giants didn't show up. They challenged them, and they challenged them on a consistent basis. Brian Burns looked very good. Kayvon Thibodeau looked very good. Dexter Lawrence looked amazing, as he always does. Abdul Carter looked very good. And they still were able to hold up, in my personal opinion, which was a really nice thing to see. Shout out to Tyquan Thornton, man.
Put your ones up.
15 is so good, man.
You like that?
Like,
I think that
Tyquan down there somewhere.
Yeah, that ended up being the last pass rep, I should say, from Josh Simmons, because they ended up, I think they may have thrown one more ultimately, but overall, I would say based on the level of competition that they were dealing with and what was being presented to them, I thought I was encouraged by the offensive line performance and what this was going to be really the challenging one that we wanted to see. So, how do you guys feel about that ultimately?
Yeah, felt great about the offensive line. Basically, outside of Jawan Taylor, but
it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think, like I said, Kingsley and Josh are obviously, their communication is growing as they get more significant snaps. I think it's only going to end up getting better. Creed and Trey. I think those two guys have all pros written on them as well too. So, yeah, man, if Jawan can just either get it together or they make that switch to Jalen Moore, I think that this line is only going to get better as the season goes on. But it's obviously that Pat trusts this line a little bit more with how much he stood in the pocket and didn't, like I said, had happy feet and try to scramble and get away or whatever. So, definitely shout out to the line this week, because that was definitely a tough test.
Absolutely. You see a group like that. Dexter Lawrence is an all-pro. Kayvon Thibodeau, we know how special he is. And Abdul Carter was a top 5 pick for a reason. And obviously, you paid Brian Burns a lot of money. So this was probably going to be their biggest test of yet, obviously, and playing on the road in that god-awful stadium. So the fact that we passed the test, I wouldn't say with flying colors, but for the offensive line, I'll give them excluding Jawan, because he's kind of I'm not grading him on the curve. He is who he is. For the other 4, I'll give them a solid B-. I think he had a solid performance. It wasn't nothing special. It wasn't awful. It was an above-average performance. And when you're doing that against those guys, you're obviously not going to see Dexter Lawrence and Jalen Carter on back-to-back weeks too often. But for the last 2 weeks, I think Kingsley specifically has passed the test for me, and I only want to see him get better. So still a lot to improve on, but to get through these 2 weeks somewhat unscathed, not any major scars to his game, I think he's headed in the right direction.
Yep. Absolutely. I see our sentiment as similar sentiments. There it is. Add that Simmons played very well, and he's just been really good, man. He's been everything you could ask for. CJ said during the draft show if he saw one bump on his knee that he was going to be upset. Fortunately, Simmons has generally been able to stay on the field and been good. And Suamataia, I thought you've seen growth kind of over the portion of this, sample size to continue to get better. And I thought he'd had a solid outing given things. Creed and Trey look good. Jawan Taylor up and down, that's what's come to be expected. So with that being said, we now flip the script to week 4 against the Baltimore Ravens, who are coming off a loss on Monday Night Football to the Detroit Lions last night. Obviously, an up and down game for the Ravens, to say the least. They have given up the most points in the National Football League through 3 games, I believe 97 points overall. The Lions certainly got after him on the offensive side of the ball specifically. David Montgomery had a long run. Jahmyr Gibbs was his normal great self. Amon-Ra St. Brown did take advantage of their corners on a consistent basis as well. Derrick Goff felt like he had a lot of time back there. For those that don't know, the Ravens are missing both Justin Madubuike, and Kyle Van Noy, who are 2 major pieces for their defensive line. Madubuike really being the biggest piece of their defensive line. I would say that Roquan Smith had struggles in coverage as well, which was a big piece too.
What? What? DG, he said what? Say it again.
Similar issues that he had versus Rashid Rice in week 1 of last season.
DG, I thought linebacker.
The generational talent that is Roquan Smith.
Linebackers are good in coverage, guys. Just only Nick Bolton that struggles. But continue.
The generational talent that is Roquan Smith.
Nick Bolton and Fred Warner don't have those issues. Yeah, all right. Both in a blender all night. Fuck out of here.
Linebackers don't cover well outside of Fred Warner. It's just Fred Warner. It's a good cover linebacker, guys. We got it.
Most hard.
And Fred Warner
It's
has
very
his
hard.
He gets cooked too. So everybody can get this work. Nobody's a golfer.
He hate to see Travis Kelce coming.
He do hate to see Travis Kelce come because Travis Kelce got him in the biggest stage too.
Twice.
Yeah, he did. All that being said, Baltimore on the offensive side of the ball failed to convert in the red zone. That was really the big thing. Struggled to put the ball in the end zone on some occasions. Could never really get Zay Flowers working, even though he obviously had a really hot start in the first 2 weeks as well. Run game looked good though versus the Lions. One thing I was really impressed by that we'll talk about too. The pass rush, like I mentioned earlier, was very good for the Lions in the ways in which they were able to rush with integrity to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket and then also finish plays very effectively. So, I mean, it's a performance that you hope the Chiefs can somewhat replicate, but 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson to be able to do that, that's insane to say the least. And they had good coverage on the back end too. So, all that being said, I do want to ask you guys this question, then we'll get to the matchup specifically. 1-3, or I should say 1-3 is what's facing either one of these teams if they lose on Sunday. Are you saying that either one of these teams' season is over from a playoff perspective? And you could also say from a division perspective if they go to 1-3.
No.
Division, you put yourself in kind of a hole.
I expect us to split with the Chargers anyway, so that really wasn't shocking.
These teams.
So, yeah.
Both of these teams I feel like are gonna be around once January goes around and be right in the thick of it. But this 1-3 is definitely a hole if you put yourself into. So you would like to avoid it as best as you can. But I don't see it's derailing either team season.
Exactly. Too early. Obviously, this game has more of an implications on the 1 seed, but divisions or playoffs are not in danger with this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you guys. I don't think either one of these teams is out of their division race, and I certainly don't think that either one of these teams is out of the playoff race, even if they do go to 1-3. However, 2-2 looks a whole lot better than 1-3, and both of these teams have a lot of reasons to feel like being able to get to 500 instead of 1-3 is a massive thing. I think the Chiefs would say even more so than them as well. But we can go to the matchups. What do you guys want to look at as far as the offense versus Baltimore's defense that's given up a lot of points?
I think the biggest matchup is their corners. Right now, that secondary is for Baltimore has really been struggling, and that's kind of uncharacteristic because you thought it'd be a lot better with the addition of Malachi Starks. Obviously, Kyle Hamilton is who he is, man. You obviously got to account for him, but I really think I was kind of gonna say this because Marlon Humphrey,
boy,
it does not look good.
Talk about a turning point in
right
your
now,
career.
But other than that, man, I just think that that secondary is outside of really Marlon Humphrey is really young. Jair Alexander's been hurt, so they haven't really been able to use him as well. So I think this is a spot where the Chiefs can really kind of take advantage of some of those matchups. I know you don't have the full receiving core that you would like to have out there. Obviously, if Rasheed was back playing in this game, you'd feel a lot more ultraly confident going into this matchup. But I think that if you can get Xavier Worthy back for some snaps in this matchup, that you can take advantage of some things. And I think, there's obviously some motivation going into it. Hollywood Brown, this is his former team. So, there's a little bit of motivation for some of those guys on that side. But I think that you can also take advantage with Tyquan Thornton, his speed down the field on this team as well, too. So Lions kind of showed some of that Monday night. They took full advantage of it. Also in the run game as well. You can get them to kind of creep up and try to play in the box a little bit more. Roquan Smith doesn't really kind of look like himself right now. So I think that Chiefs should be able to take advantage, hopefully, of some of those matchups on that side.
Absolutely.
I was mute there. I mean, I You mentioned obviously Marlon has had some issues. You just wonder, hey, do the Chiefs have the wide receivers necessary to take advantage of some of those issues, to say the least? Do they? I mean, I think you can get Tyquan down the field, of course, which we've seen. I think Hollywood Brown can be useful on some of these snaps. I definitely feel that way. It's just the big thing for me was watching the Lions last night, whether it was Tesla didn't make any plays, so I won't make it seem like it was a big thing, but it felt like J-Mo played with more physicality. Amon-Ra certainly played with that physicality, and that was something that it feels like the wide receiver core for the Chiefs still lacks because they're not getting Royals out there, because they're not obviously Rashee Rice is still out for 3 more weeks. So Xavier being back would help in general, but can you use Royals to get a little bit more of a physical presence out there? I think that would be useful because Royals is a 6 foot bigger wide receiver, which is nice. I don't want them to be bullied from that standpoint. Because I think that's the way in which the Ravens can survive on defense in that aspect too. If the Ravens feel like they can get more physical with you, but this should be an offensive line coming off of a good performance as we just went through versus the Giants defensive line. They should be able to replicate some of the success that the Lions had. Would I like to see them be able to run the ball? Yeah. Am I going to expect to see them run the ball? No. But,
run the ball.
I would be remiss if I didn't say it, but specifically, I'm concerned about the physicality aspect of the wide receiver core for the Chiefs, which is always a question mark, but still without Rashee Rice, and if you're not going to play Royals, it feels very flimsy, and what that will end up looking like. But hey, you get 15 time, I think he can find some guys against this Baltimore secondary. I truly do feel that way. So, hey, this has been a defense for Baltimore that's literally given up the most points in the National Football League through 3 weeks.
Gotta take advantage.
The wide receivers are still not there, but you got to take advantage. And in my opinion, you're going to have to put up points specifically to win against the other side of the ball. So as far as the Chiefs defense, obviously coming off a better performance versus Russell Wilson and the Giants offense, you gave up some things to Cam Skydaboo as far as the receiving game was concerned. Also had a solid enough day on the ground as well. How do you guys feel about that matchup versus an excellent rushing attack in Lamar Jackson? Obviously, Justin Herbert got after us as far as the scramble aspect is concerned. So Lamar Jackson is also going to be having some of those opportunities. How do you guys feel about the matchup for this Chiefs defense versus the Ravens offense?
I think Spags relishes this matchup. I ain't gonna lie. I think he looks forward to it. We all remember the game 2 years ago when we had to play the AFC Championship game in Baltimore, and a lot of people were expecting us to get blown out. And not only did that not happen, our defense pretty much put a cap on that defense. The following year, we played them last year for our home opener. A lot of those same issues happened with them. So I expect them to, after Derrick Henry hasn't ended the game he didn't want the way he's wanted to the last couple of weeks, putting the ball on the ground, I would put an emphasis on it even more, fellas. Even if after the play's over and you tackle him, he's getting up, I'm still punching at the ball. I just want that memory to be ingrained, and it's obviously in his brain to know, like, hey, you have to hold on to that ball for a full 60 minutes when you're playing us, because he's going to be thinking about it. So he may be a little timid holding on to the ball with 2 across his chest instead of just running in a natural form, just because he knows he doesn't want to fumble and make that same mistake. So he's going to be thinking about it. So early and often, I'm going to be punching at it, trying to put an emphasis on that to try to get that ball out. But you can tell by the post-game press conference, he's thinking about it more and more because he has 10 fumbles in his career, and those have all happened in the fourth quarter. So it's not a good thing for going for Derrick Henry right now. So offensively, we know what the challenges Lamar Jackson presents. We've kind of stated it in our film study. You're rushing to contain, not rushing to get sacks, because he's going to come to you. So you naturally have to just let him stay in your rush lane. Be smart. Don't overrun anything. Just stay in your lane. He's going to come to you. And then after that, I think the biggest thing with them is just mainly just obviously make Lamar beat you, because we know Derrick Henry can take over a football game at any point. But I don't think Lamar Jackson has had too many games where he's actually put fear in our secondary. I think most of the time when we see guys like Zay Flowers, Rashard Bateman, we usually tend to play well. I like the matchup with Trent McDuffie against Rashard or Bateman either way. I like the matchup with Jaden Hicks versus Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely's been hurt, so I don't think he was out last week. I don't expect him to play this week, but we'll see. But I like the matchup, honestly, against any of their weapons versus ours. So, and I think we've gotten more athletic at the safety position since the last time we saw them last year. So I think generally speaking, the first and foremost is to stop Derrick Henry, stop the run game, and then contain Lamar the best you can. So I like this matchup, honestly, for us. I think Spags does too.
Yeah, this is not the game to be a hero. It's not the game to go out there and try to make, the Sports Center top 10 play or nothing like that. This is about just having your integrity, knowing your job, and sticking to that. I think as long as you keep your rush lane integrity, keep your gap integrity against the run, you should be able to take advantage of this matchup as well too. Obviously, Derrick here, we've played against him before, so we know what he's able to bring. You know, you got to get like I said, 2 or 3 or 4 guys, hats on the ball to bring him down. Can't go in trying to tackle above the waist or anything like that. Or obviously, he'll make you look stupid, especially when he gets into open field. So, got to be adamant about wrapping up and hitting and bringing him down and getting guys in on gang tackling as well too. And then with Lamar, just keeping your rush lane integrity, it's not necessarily about sacking him. It's just more so about keeping him in the pocket. And I think that's something that Steve Spagnuolo has really ingrained into this defense's mind in this matchup. You know, it's not necessarily. I think that's what the Lions obviously did in that game last night. You know, it wasn't necessarily about getting to him or anything like that. Lamar, well, honestly, he'll run into some sacks.
I was just about to say he'll come to you.
He'll come to you if you really make him,
and
then keep him hemmed in. And then when the opportunity does present itself, I think last night, especially watching that game, Aiden Hutchinson was the closer. Allow your best defensive player to get one-on-one and tell him to go close the game out. So you got a guy like that in 95 who can obviously take over a game as well too. So when that opportunity presents itself, Chris, do your job and take over the game and end it. So this is definitely a matchup they can definitely take advantage of. But you have to be smart in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, he'll run into some of them. They did a really good job of forcing the issue and being able to, again, keep that integrity and then finish those plays. I was extremely impressed watching the Lions back on tape. And then the back end coverage was good. I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup. Rashad Bateman kind of got a lot of those plays. Isaiah Likely maybe is going to play. They said it might have been a shot that he played in this last game. Seems like he's going to practice again to give it a shot this week versus the Chiefs. Mark Andrews had himself.
Everybody gets healthy against
they
want to play against that.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews had himself a few catches as well last night too. So they're gonna have weapons out there. There are still ways to get after the interior of this offensive line, in my personal opinion. Linderbaum gave up a lot of pressures. Falele was bad again. Aiden Hutchinson being a complete monster aside, to be honest with you. Yeah, they do. They do hate him.
They hate Falele.
but as it always is, and this is the thing that I'm going to boil it down to. Can you get him into third and long? That's what the Lions were able to do. The Lions were able to keep them in longer downs and distances and then allow themselves to play off of that. This run defense by the metrics, as far as success rate and EPA allowed per rush, has been bad. Can you do enough on early downs versus the run to allow yourself to get to the later downs? That's really what it's going to come down to, point blank period. So if you can, then I think you got a shot to get off the field on a consistent basis. Trifecta. We got the Chiefs money line part right, which is nice. Tyquan longest reception also got that right, which is also nice. I missed on my Kelsey 50+ yards. What did you had Mahomes rushing that didn't hit? He didn't take off. Yeah, he didn't rush. He didn't rush in that game either. So as far as the trifecta for Ravens versus Chiefs, do you guys have your picks in mind as far as what you want to go with?
Whatever Zay Flowers' receptions are, take the under.
I would say, what's crazy? Lamar hasn't thrown any interceptions this year.
That's true. And I will say this: he tried to throw one to Brian Branch.
Right.
Brian Branch did a really good job at baiting him into that one. He tried to throw Brian Branch.
Chiefs secondary, you got an opportunity for an anytime interception, because I do believe Lamar has the ability to at least to give you one, like I said about Russell Wilson, especially if you press the issue, you get him into a position where he starts trying to kind of force it. There's points in times where Lamar, and I think Lamar is obviously the top 5 quarterback in this league, but there are points in times where he gets into his head, especially if they get behind and he has to start trying to press the issue. So if you can get him into one of those situations, I would really love to play for anytime interception against him.
Okay.
I like it.
Under Zay Flowers receptions.
Whenever the line drops, it's probably gonna be like
Yeah.
5.5 or something. Take the under. He ain't getting that versus us. No disrespect, he couldn't get it on Detroit. He damn sure ain't getting it on us.
Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson, anytime interception. I'm going to go with over on Juju's receiving yards. It'll probably be pretty low. I think this is a good game for him. The Ravens have relied pretty heavily on zone coverage. And again, the physicality aspect, I think, is a big piece of that. I'd like to see Jalen Royals out there, but, until I do, I'm not going to say bet on him. So I'll go with Juju yards. I think that they'll pay extra attention to Travis Kelce, obviously, and ultimately that'll open up some things for him to make a catch or two. So I got Juju yards. CJ's got under on Zay Flowers catches, and DG has Lamar Jackson for any time interception. Let's go to X Factor. Give me X Factor on each side of the ball in your game picks, guys.
X Factor, Omar Norman Lott. We just stated the interior of the offensive line is weak. They've been giving up a lot of pressures. And we know if we can knock Lamar off his spot, that'll lead toward the interception, which will lead toward lower receptions for Zay Flowers, like I stated. So it all correlates. So my X Factor is Omar Norman Lott for this week. And my game picks will be Chiefs money line. I'm going to go Chiefs win. What's the spread on this game? Like, what, 40?
Minus 2.5 for the Ravens.
Yeah, over under is like 48. Definitely taking the under. They ain't going to be that many points. Chiefs win 23-20.
X Factor for me this week, I think I got two. Leo Chanel, as far as the job he's gonna have to do in spying Lamar Jackson. And then Jaden Hicks as well too, because I think he'll be needed in some of those reps as also just being able to contain Lamar. And I think he's the one that actually comes up with that anytime interception. Just being able to play some of those passing lanes. I'm not picking the score. Just win the game.
Get his thing with just win the game.
Just win the damn game, please.
Do you think it's more high scoring or low scoring?
Low scoring.
I would prefer that it be more low scoring because I don't think the Chiefs need to find themselves trying to be in the shootout. I don't think you have the horses for that. And I think the Ravens kind of more so can play that type of game, just because they do have more of the weapons that you would probably like to have. So yeah, it probably does need to be a more low scoring 20, 24, 21, 27, 24 kind of game or whatever. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. Two really good teams going up and they know each other really well. So, I think it should be a close battle. You're going to have to pull it out at the end. Don't miss your kicks, Harrison Bucker.
That's why I said 23-20. Bucker for the win.
Absolutely great to point out because, again, Harrison Bucker is somebody that we obviously haven't talked about today, but talked about a lot on the post game yesterday. An unacceptable level of play from him. I don't think that he's giving these guys any advantage. And I saw starting field position for defenses earlier, and we were pretty middle of the pack as far as that was concerned. Other kickers have done a good job of being able to boot it low so that it bounces first in the bounds that it's supposed to. It then kind of messes up the return aspect of it. I'd like to see Bucker be able to do that. He has not done that, so that's been a disappointing aspect to it. And then he's missed kicks, extra points, and field goals, ones that he is supposed to make. He's got to be better, no doubt about it. So with that being said, X Factor, I think on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to have to go back with Omar Norman Lott. There are going to be opportunities for him to continue to get pass rush. And again, it's maintaining that ability on the outside. Ashton Gelati, George Karlaftis, and Leo Chanel rushing with integrity / spying at times, obviously, on Lamar Jackson is going to be a big part. But can you create some pressure inside is going to be a big thing and do it with discipline. And then adding on top of it versus the run, there are going to be times in which he's going to be out there versus the run he's going to have to show up to. So we're putting a lot on Omar Norman's plate, so he'll be my X factor for this game. And I will say Leo Chanel is also going to be a very interesting guy to watch and how Spagnuolo does deploy him, like you mentioned, CJ. Spags likes to get these matchups done. So with that being said, game pick, I'm going to go, I think it's actually a little bit higher scoring, which I may end up being wrong about, but I do actually feel that way. I'm going to go 27, 26, 27-26 Chiefs. And I know I've said on the consistent basis that I think this team is going to be 2-4 when Rashee Rice gets back, but I don't know. The Ravens have not been all that impressive to me. I think they can get after this defense. And maybe end up being wrong in its famous last words. And again, I don't think it's the end of the season if they go 1-3. But 27-26 Chiefs. I say we get the job done there.
Somewhere Kicker is watching this right now. Writing all this down.
Take the Ravens minus 12.5.
I think Kicker is still cursing out Marlon Humphrey, to be perfectly honest with you.
You better get out that podcast, dude.
Hilarious, man.
With your bum ass.
We'll get to the. By the way, we will get to the power rankings after we get a quarter of football done. We get into October, then we'll get to the power rankings, guys. But we are ready. We are now ready, guys. We have our first time to lay somebody to rest.
They gave you life.
This was a disgusting sequence of football, in my opinion. I'm just gonna let it run. Honestly,
these 3 plays were hilarious, and I ain't gonna lie, I had the under, so I was sweating it too. I ain't gonna lie.
I bet you were sweating. If you had the under, I know you were sweating it out for sure.
I was like, thank you.
You know what I was thinking the whole time this happened? Well, Vegas made that call, dog. Like they told us,
y'all can't go over, bro. Can't go over.
We got Chiefs minus 6.5. If you score, you will never see the light of day ever.
You better throw that hole at the back of the end zone every time.
So it starts with this intentional grounding, which wasn't even close to anybody. Just disgusting from Russell Wilson. This was a play sequence that I was watching. I'm saying this is going to end up getting Wilson benched. That's just what it looked like, which it obviously ended up getting a bench.
Then they ran QB draw.
This is the play I knew he was getting benched. Running
dog.
QB draw on the 15 with Russell Wilson at age 36 is hilarious. Where was he gonna go?
I'm in my dad's house watching this game. My dad goes, "What the hell was that?"
That's what I said. They took a dive. Talk about taking a dive mid game. No pun intended.
I said that boy. They told that boy he can't score.
So you better not score. Running QB draw with Russell Wilson as a choice. I got up out of my seat and went to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, this game's over. If that's what you're doing.
And then the boy threw the ball at the goalpost twice. Like, just, you know what? Nah.
Here, you take it.
Yeah.
You trying to have a
honestly, I thought this was going to be consensual grounding.
They could have called it 3 times.
They could have called that one.
So this is 3rd and 10 after that dive QB draw. Nobody open. I'm just gonna flip it in the first row.
That's definitely consensual grounding again.
And then this one's just terrible. 4th and 10 doesn't give anybody a shot to make something happen here.
Nice job hitting the goalpost, though. You know, pretty accurate throw to the goalpost.
Great job hitting the goalpost, but
3 for 3.
Yeah. So that's a disgusting sequence from Russell Wilson that ended up getting a bench and ends up Jackson Dart now the starting quarterback for the New York Giants, and we're gonna add Russell Wilson to the graveyard of quarterbacks that the Chiefs may have ended their careers ultimately. Andrew Luck and Ben Roethlisberger previously filling that role as well. Man, just terrible. But Russell Wilson, hate to tell you.
Sayonara.
They gave you life.
Sayonara. Sayonara.
Russell Wilson, you've been laid to rest. Wish you the best.
Sayonara.
Go be a family man. Tell us
hey, man. Russ, dog. Be a father, bro. It's time, bro. It's just time. Let it go, dog. Just go home. Take care of your kids. Love on them. You know, go on tour with your wife because it's over.
And enjoy it, bro. Have fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. wrap it up. Underdog Fantasy, use code TRUTH$300 deposit match. WNBA playoffs, obviously NFL season starting up. MLB playoffs right around the corner as well. NBA and NHL also coming up very quickly as well. So
The Equinox
make sure
is
you guys
coming
go there.
soon.
Yes, the Equinox, the sports Equinox, all 4 major sports at one time. Can't wait. So appreciate you guys for coming by. Chiefs Kingdom, go Chiefs. Peace out.
Jeez.
Jeez.